These are the secrets Giannis Antetokounmpo was hiding from the NBA. Regardless what anyone says, Giannis Antetokounmpo doesn't only win the MVP and the MIP award, but also the non-talked about award for the most touching life story out of all the NBA players. Ever since he stepped on the NBA hardwood, he's changed the game we all knew as basketball, took the team that drafted him back in 2013 and put it on a skyrocket towards an NBA championship. While it may seem like we know a lot about Giannis, since he's a pretty talkative and open dude, there are certain things that Giannis was hiding from the NBA. But why is that so? Why did he keep those little things a mystery for so long? See, if you've ever walked on the streets of Athens, there's a huge chance that you've come across a lot of street vendors selling you all kinds of products, such as watches, handbags, and DVDs. And back in the days, a tall, skinny teenager that goes by the name of Giannis Antetokounmpo was one of those salesmen, selling you sunglasses in the 36-degree summer heat.
Oh, by the way, this is the Zoom Freak 3 Nike shoe. I'm gonna need you guys to check it out, man.
In Athens, his parents were constantly on the lookout for any job they could find, just to earn some money and be able to make ends meet. Their family was huge, since besides Giannis, there were 4 other mouths they had to feed, those being the 4 Giannis brothers. They even had to leave the oldest son, Francis, with Giannis' grandparents, since they were unable to take care of all 5 of them. His dad mainly worked as a handyman, and his mom as a babysitter. Plus, all the boys were working in the street and trying to help the parents out as much as they possibly could. But the financial situation just couldn't seem to get any better, and the poverty didn't end until Giannis got drafted into the NBA. And at that very moment, their life has turned upside down. Or, what would be more correct, downside up, since their never hoped for dream became a reality, and the everyday hustle was finally over. Once Giannis entered the NBA, everything has changed. And by everything, I mean everything. Coming from Greece, he was used to a completely different culture that differed from the American in many aspects. Back in 2014, about a year after being drafted to the Milwaukee Bucks, on a random afternoon, a bird whistle was heard on many smartphones across the globe. People rushed to their smartphone, unlocked it, proceeded to open Twitter, and saw a tweet from no other than Giannis Antetokounmpo, saying, quote-unquote, "Man, I just had my first smoothie. Man, God bless America." That's right, he never had a smoothie before in his entire life. Seeing him discover American culture at an older age than usual was nothing but amusing to watch, and a, then, big part of Giannis' appeal. It's a part of why his fans love him, and he's such a genuine person who never fails to be joyful, funny, and handsome. But it wasn't always like that. Once upon a time, back in Greece, Giannis was a wild, fierce soldier that was striking fear to all the Greek citizens and across all the... I'm kidding. That would be impossible. He's such a nice guy. However, as unusual as that might sound, Giannis did complete his mandatory military service back in Greece. In fact, Greek law obligates all adult men, even up to 45 years old, to complete 9 months of military service. Him and his brother Thanasis were luckily able to complete it sooner than in 9 months, due to the fact that they live in the US. But they still had to go back to Greece just to serve military service there. They completed it during the summer of 2016. And it's definitely one of the stranger Giannis' experiences he was once not keen to talk about, but couldn't really keep it a secret for too long. One thing that he would probably like to keep a secret though came out a while ago. See, he gets emotional while talking about his past and how it was before the money and fame, because, to put it simply, it was just hard for him. One of the reasons why is that when he was still living in Greece, he used to share his basketball shoes with his brother during basketball games. And you might think that that's not that big of a deal, but it actually was. Because sharing shoes didn't mean that when Giannis had a game, he wore them, and when his brother had a game, he wore them. In fact, when Giannis came off the floor for a break or a substitution, he took off his shoes and gave them to his brother to play in, which also means he and his brother were unable to be on the court simultaneously, so they therefore rarely played together. This was a long time ago though, way before he had his very own signature shoe with Nike, the so-called Zoom Freak collection. I think there's no need for explanation why this isn't one of his favorite stories to talk about. And while that might be shocking, Giannis also didn't own a suit until hours before the draft. See, on the draft day, a few hours before the event itself, his agent asked him what color his suit was. And Giannis just stared at him, as surprised as one can look, replying that he didn't know he had to wear one. It was that, and the fact that he then didn't have the money to walk around in suits at regular occasions. He then asked his agent where he could quickly buy one, and that's how the draft night became the first time that Giannis both bought and wore his own suit. But one thing Giannis never hesitated to talk about are his parents, and how they are the reason he's where he is, and how they worked hard to make it all possible, even though they barely had anything to eat. That's why during his rookie season, the moment he made some money, he went right to the bank and sent it all he could to Greece to provide for his family and help out his parents. After that though, he didn't even have enough money to take a cab to the game he had that night. So instead, without hesitation, he started running to the arena right away. On his way somewhere, a bit before he arrived to his desired destination, a couple saw him on the street and recognized him. They decided to give him a ride to the game, since they understood his situation. He might have wanted to keep this as a secret, since some would think he didn't think the situation through, and he just went ahead and sent all the money to his family without giving it a second thought, but I don't think anyone has ever judged him because of that. It was a rather heroic act that should go down in the history books. Now, we can all understand why Giannis wanted to keep those stories a mystery, except for the one with the smoothie, but even that tweet probably required some bravery before pressing publish. Every single thing that has happened to Giannis in his life has made him who he is today, and even though his past was never destined to be bright, it shaped him into an eye-pleasuring NBA sensation that was, because of everything he's done, given the ultimate nickname of the Greek Freak.